no, I just spent my whole career doing this, and you're telling me I didn't have to do that?
Chasing perfection is a zero-sum game.
The use of shame
As a motivator.
Yeah.
Shame and anxiety as a motivator. Who am I at my core, and what is the business that I need to build that works for me? And how does that fit within a company? And oh, by the way, we've had an absolute shit show of a market for the last several years.
Well, welcome back.
Thanks.
I'm excited for where this conversation can go. I feel like we could also just sit here and talk about anything for ever.
Yeah.
Share with people, one, in case they didn't catch you last on the first season, share with them a little bit about yourself, how you came to mortgage, what you do.
Sure. So I'm Rebecca Richardson, AKA the Mortgage Mentor, and this is my 25th year as being a loan officer. So,
hot damn.
Right. So I started when I was 12. I started right out of college because I had supported myself the last 2 years of college, and so I got interested in personal finance because I needed to know how much money I had or didn't have, and then had moved to a small city, was looking for a job, didn't feel like it was really the place to start a financial planning practice at 23 because I'd worked for one in college, and that's how I got bit by the finance bug. But was able to buy a house with my ex-husband, and when we did, I'd asked the realtor, I said, hey, where's a girl go for a job in this town? And so he connected me with a mortgage company, and I talked with the owner, and he was like, yeah, you can unlimited earning potential or whatever.
Dang,
and I was
sign me up. I don't care what that is.
Okay, sounds great. Let's try that, right? Because you're in your early 20s and completely reckless, and sure, no problem. And that's how I got started. And so it's been wonderful because I didn't know that I would love it's the right balance of people and problem solving. For me.
It's very much problem.
Yeah.
It's like big old puzzle.
Exactly. So it's like doing a Sudoku or solitaire or
Challenge me.
Rubik's Cube every day. Exactly. It's like, how do I figure out this strategy? That's still the fun part for me.
And you bring a lot of creativity to your work. You're out there telling stories on social and really building a big platform over there.
Yeah.
So building a big platform online and a big presence across all socials. If you guys want to go follow her, go follow the Mortgage Mentor. You'll find her. But I mean, you Google Rebecca Richardson. It's like mortgage influencer, if there's even a thing, which is really weird that's a thing.
Influencer, and I'm like,
weird. It's weird, but okay. But a lot of people follow you. I mean, you put out great content, very educational. And also, when we build big presences online, that will open you up to a whole lot of opportunity for people to say some really nasty things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, this is the part that I don't feel like I talk about a lot when I'm telling people yes, leverage social for your personal branding and all that kind of stuff, is that the sneaky secondary thing that happens is it's great exposure therapy, right? Because
you want to learn how to not give a shit what people think of you, do social media.
Yes, and contrary to popular belief, I was not a theater kid in school. I didn't really run for office. I wanted to be behind the scenes. I just wanted to do my schoolwork and get my A's and not have a whole lot of eyes on me. I'm an introvert, so this is not something that comes naturally to me or that I'm oh yeah, I don't care what you say. Nope, that has been built up over time. And it does hurt because I think when you're doing anything creative, to me, that's an act of vulnerability. It's saying this is something that I care, and I'm creating something that didn't exist before, whether it's, it does feel like it's as strategic, if you want to call it creative, strategy or whatever, as explaining how an obscure loan program works, right? There is creativity in that, all the way to what we traditionally consider art. But it's, I remember our first Notorious event, you gave us the signs that were the quote from Teddy Roosevelt about, the man. And in this case, I love that our signs say the woman in the arena, and that is a great reminder of, when you're creating like that, or when you're putting yourself out there, you do get to that point that it strengthens your belief in yourself, because people will throw rocks at you. But it's well, I'm at least brave enough to be out here doing it. Yeah. So I feel like that's some of the things, and it's kind of at first, sometimes I get nasty comments or things like that, and I feel like I needed to over-explain or defend myself or whatever, and then it was kind of okay, well, screw them, whatever, and now I'm sort of seeing it, and I'm Man.
Oh, bless your heart.
Exactly.
Must really be a horrible thing to have to go around your whole life feeling like you get any satisfaction about saying anything mean about anybody, especially on social.
Exactly. I'm like, happy people don't go around doing this. So, sucks for you. But this is, my social account is my party. You're not going to walk into my party and crap all over my guests or myself or insult me. Like, we can have a healthy dialogue, but you're not going to come in and attack me. So therefore, if you can't be a good party goer, then you get removed.
You can see yourself right out.
You get removed because you're not part of the vibe here. And I think through that process also, as I've gotten more confident about being myself and speaking my voice, speaking from my true voice and speaking from my place of experience and having an opinion and all those kind of things, it also attracts a lot more of who I do want, which is great. Because then it's almost kind of like, how some animals have like coloring or features to them where they actually repel, predators
You're like, don't
or something.
eat that because it's poisonous because it's like bright purple or whatever.
Correct. So that's basically what it is it's like, I'm meaner than I look.
I mean, fucking same. Every time's like,
it's like, I have a very sensitive heart, but like if you get in and you poke me, I mean, I don't punch first, but I will punch back, and I'll make sure it counts. So sometimes that is part of it, but for a lot of it, it's just let it roll off because it doesn't matter because it's their perspective and it's not my reality. Yeah.
No, I feel like very much the same. I like look at my socials that like, this is my sandbox. And nobody forced you to come over and play with me in the sandbox.
Right.
You don't have to be here. You absolutely do not have to be here. So you go be doing.
There's no requirement. It's cool and no harm, no foul.
Yeah, it's fine. Go play in your sandbox. All good. And I also like social as I'm definitely like this. I don't know. It's like the introverted extrovert or the whatever. And you know this, like in groups of people, I'm definitely not like the star of the show. I'd much rather just be like,
I'm like, is there a nice spread? Can I get some snacks? Is there a dog I could pet? Is there literally anything I can do other than be like the life of the party? Because
Yeah, and I like social because I can start to manage my interaction where
you can pace yourself.
If it's like in person, like I'm like, bless you extroverts. I don't know how you do it, but in person, like you're always on. We're like social. It's like I can now control when I interact. Okay, now I'm not interacting. So I really appreciate that. And I also love it's free, so that's cool too.
Yeah. So that's a big plus.
Yeah, that helps. How did you find your voice?
That's a great question. I would say really listening to what felt good to create and what felt good and honest to say, even if it wasn't necessarily what everybody, like if I wasn't joining in the chorus with everything else, but I'm like, no, again, if you're going to create something, if you're going to put it out there for public consumption, there is sort of that self-check process of like, am I just saying this to say this? Or am I being a copycat of somebody else? Okay, well, that doesn't feel good. I don't like that. Well, what do I really think? And you sort of put it through that filter, at least I did, and it makes me feel more sure of what I'm saying because I had to think about like, am I really to say this with my whole chest where everybody, like by putting it out there, anybody is invited to give their opinion, kind of thing. So I would say it's
stuff that comes up like pre-finding your voice and it like comes through like flashback stuff on social. And you're like, that didn't age well, or like, that didn't feel good.
Yeah, I think normally when I look back, sometimes it's like I feel either that it's something that I was feeling inadequate or I was feeling like I was maybe, like a lot of times it's kind of like, okay, if everybody's going left, let me go right. Let me, kind of go to where there's not as much crowd and let me sort of, figure out what's going on over here. But sometimes if it feels like I've gone too far away from the crowd and sometimes it's more, have I gone too far away from myself trying to blend in with the crowd? So it's kind of a balance between that is like, how do I say something worth saying? How do I say something worth valuable that's still authentic, that is, I guess, again, kind of worth putting out there. Yeah.
I have this one post, probably a series of posts where I'd given a piece of advice. This is, when I first started in mortgage and like your career and like your quality of clientele, the types of loans you do, your experience, just everything changes over time. So when I first got started, I used to give this advice. It's horrible advice, by the way. Please don't give this advice anymore if anybody is out here giving this advice.
This is where the disclaimer ticker
yeah,
go along.
Please do
don't
not
follow
give this advice anymore.
Yes.
But I used to give this advice. That was like, especially coming up on tax season, if you're self-employed, do me a favor. You don't want to write off all your income because you could write yourself right out of a loan. Let me see and I would tell clients, send me your tax returns. Like, let's look at what kind of income you're going to be showing before you go filing them. And this is before I knew the value of tax strategy. It was like, I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, no, absolutely do not do that. I can never save you as much as you will save via tax strategy. I'll just do a bank statement program. I do a bank statement program, P&L program, all these other programs, which are not that badly priced right now. So I'm like, that was horrible advice. How much money did I, in giving that advice to clients, I'm like, how much money did I cause you to lose by telling you not to write, don't be screwing around on your tax returns, but like, don't write off legitimate tax write-offs so you could buy a house?
Well, and that's the whole thing about like, once you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
You know, and I think sometimes it's like either I've given some advice that then, I mean, I was,
or
again,
stuff changes. Maybe,
stuff changes, or it's, I knew something so far and then my knowledge deepened and I'm like, I'll even go back and I've stitched old videos like, hey, this was wrong. Here's something extra, because I think it's like, so often part of being on social or marketing yourself as the person instead of just like your job, right? Like what you do for people, but like, this is who I am as a person. These are my opinions on things, et cetera, is this like drive or this feeling that you have to be perfect because people, maybe if I'm perfect, then people won't judge me or people won't say stuff. And the thing is that that's not true at all. And chasing perfection is a zero-sum game. Yeah. So it's kind of like being willing to say, hey, I messed up, or hey, this is what happens, because that's what people are really wanting is honesty. And
it makes you more relatable too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All
right, let's talk about this. You can choose to talk about it or not talk about it. You've had your own share of trying to find the right home in a company. And I think we see this a lot though. It's like a lot of originators, you get told a lot and I don't know, I've been with my mom, I work for my mom. So it's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not recruitable. I've been at the same place my whole life. Right. So like, I don't have that experience, but I watch it. And I watch like, a lot of times you're told one thing and you get there and it's not it. And it just that process of a loan originator trying to find the right home in a company. And it's a challenge. And so if you had somebody that is either going through that right now, or maybe they're starting in the industry, how would you preface finding the right fit for a company?
Well, that's not the question I thought you were going to ask, but it's totally fine. Oh,
shit. You should tell me eventually what question.
No, it's totally fine. I was like, I have no clue where this is going, but I can't wait to get there. Okay, so it is true. I mean, because for the longest time, when it came to company loyalty and stuff, I was like, I'm somebody that stays. I am loyal. I am in it, right? Because I want to like believe in what we're doing together as a group.
There's so much shit my whole body's like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Right. So this is where it's like, again, as you change or as you, know better, you do better and heal from different things and all this kind of stuff. And there was one point several years ago where I was with a company, I'd been with them for a long time, and I was working with a business coach, and I was like, I have this other opportunity and I think it's great, but it was very much, and I know we've talked about this before, it's very much this like fear of letting go because it's kind of like the devil, or it's, whatever. And I was so grateful for the advice that you gave me that, it's remove to replace. And, but it's hard to kind of say that, let me take this jump when what I have seems okay. And
so scary.
It's so scary. And I was thankful because my business coach was like, while I think your loyalty is admirable, just remember, like, if the tables were turned, you'd be gone tomorrow. I'm like, oh, right. So if it is to be, it's up to me, kind of thing. And so part of it was as my business has evolved, where I'm not following necessarily kind of the old guard rules of how to do a business. Part of it was finding a company that really understood and valued that and gave me the freedom to market the way that I did and didn't kind of give me a side eye if I didn't do open houses, or I was like, I really don't care what the new flyer design is, or whatever the case was, right? Because that was going against the grain. Like they're like, we don't want all that. We want your production, but we don't want you to do things differently. So part of it was finding the right company, and a big part of it was figuring out what I even needed, right? Like, who am I at my core, and what is the business that I need to build that works for me? And how does that fit within a company? And oh, by the way, we've had an absolute like shit show of a market for the last several years. And so part of it is companies trying to pivot, I'm trying to pivot and evolve and all these kind of things. And so the more that I got really clear with myself of like, what is it that I am really good at? Not just like what I can do, right? Because I'm a hard worker, I can do anything. But I read a couple books, talked with some friends, really kind of did a lot of, soul searching, business soul searching, whatever, to really figure out what does that look like. And then once I really was clear on how I could articulate that, then that made it better for me to then have, conversations with companies and sort of be like, here's what I'm bringing to the table, versus like, oh my gosh, you see me, you find me valuable. Like, I don't need that validation anymore. So how do we find something that's symbiotic where we both, can grow and benefit together? Yeah.
I see a lot of this like blind loyalty sometimes to like a company, I'm just like, let's please understand where you are in that system. It is not your company, right? And so understanding like this is how the relationship works. And so when you're firm in like who you are and what you want, also what your goals are and all of that, when you're really strong in that, you're less manipulated by other people. Yeah. Like there's no carrot anymore, right? Like before, just in different ventures, because I wasn't really clear on like this and like what I wanted to accomplish, I was very easily taken advantage of with the carrot, dangle of the carrot. And now it's like people come to me and they try to recruit me and I'm like, none of that even matters to me because like I'm really firm in like what I believe.
What you need for your version of success.
Yeah, it shifts the entire conversation. Let's do, what is one thing that you learned in mortgage? That you could go a variety of different ways you want to go with this, but being a female in mortgage in general, preconceived notion, that shifted for you in the past year?
I mean, that work doesn't have to be hard to be justified, from the standpoint or for it to be worthy, or that my worth is my work, just that from the standpoint of like, it's okay to find ways to make things easier for you, whether it's a process or whether it's a system or whether it's hiring, a person. It's like, since we're women, I'll kind of use this as an analogy. You know how some women will shame other women for having an epidural or whatever?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you didn't work for it?
Right.
Was it hard for you?
Or had a C-section or whatever, that there's this like...
It was hard for me, so it has to be hard for you.
Right, and that there's this like hierarchy of like the best way to do this one thing. And it's like, okay, no, they're just different ways. And, at least my knowledge, it's like, doesn't matter how you have your kid. It's not like you're going to get, sleepless nights from the beginning.
This is how I tell my kids sometimes. I'm like, listen, nobody gives you an award for that. Nobody's given out an award for that one, right? So it's like understanding like that your sacrifice. Nobody's given out an award to see who sacrificed the most or who worked the hardest. Like who was there.
And the thing is, it's like, and I know that you get this too, is it's like, but there's stuff that I do enjoy, like the satisfaction of working hard on. So there is part of that as an aspect, but like when it's all hard, or I'm just picking the most challenging way to go about something, when the outcome's probably going to be very similar.
Mine is 5 a.m. club.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be about 5 a.m. club. And it's like it's like the glorification of the grind sometimes when I'm like.
Sometimes I think it is. I mean, and the thing is like, it's also at a point where it's like, I honor that for the people that it works for them, because that's that's and that's their thing. Then that's awesome. But my message is more that that's not the only way that you can be successful. And if it doesn't work for you, that doesn't mean that you're broken or you're doing things wrong.
Yeah.
It's just finding the right thing.
The use of shame.
As a motivator. Yeah. Shame and anxiety as a motivator. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is so prevalent. It's like the way that we choose to, I love this conversation around like leadership and how we choose to lead people. And if we're leading them via like fear, which is like scarcity and like heavy use of shame. And like shame's a huge trigger for me, especially around like not working hard. And so I had to do a lot of work around that one in particular. And then shifting to, and then also like fear and scarcity. And it's so easy because it's very effective because it's like one of your primal.
I was gonna say, it hijacks your brain.
100%. If I just scare you out of scarcity, I can get you to do whatever you want. When I have to hit your hot button, if I know I just hit it and like you can move. And honestly, usually I'm getting you to move where I want you to move.
Right.
Versus if you're going to lead people via influence, so intangible. Like, how do you do that? And it's like, oh, well, you got to empower people. And like, what? How? So I'm supposed to lead you by empowering you and like via influence. It's so much harder. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why people probably default to fear. It's just really a whole lot easier.
It's the shortcut. To me, it's kind of like here's the fast food version of getting you to do either, what I can monetize off of you or, influence you in that way. Basically, if I create the sense of lack, then I can give you the solution. Mm-hmm. Versus it's from a standpoint of, let me be open and honest and lead by example and be an open book and be like, hey, this is completely your thing. Like do it in your way. And I don't have that ego wrapped up in it that my way is the best way. Mm-hmm. Well, then what's in it for me? Mm-hmm. Right? Well, a lot more than just kind of like the dollar you can get today.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I learned is that depending on what your leadership style is, when you lead via fear and scarcity and all that kind of stuff, you can only lead people so far. Mm-hmm. They only follow you to which their mindset matches. The minute you have somebody that is abundance mindset and you try to lead them via fear and scarcity, they're like, I don't believe that. Mm-hmm. You can't lead me. And I find this a lot in the marketplace where like people will say things like whatever they're saying, and I just think to myself, well, that's not really true. Like, that's not really true that there's only so much business or that the market's gonna blah, blah, blah. Regardless if the market goes up or down or sideways, like I believe that there's always enough for everybody. So if that's my foundational belief and you're trying to scare me to buy your program or blah, blah, whatever it is, and you're trying to do it via something that's fear-based, I can't follow you. Mm-hmm. And so when you're via leadership, via influence, that's infinite. Mm-hmm. Like there is no limit to which people will follow you if you can learn how to empower them and make them honestly better people. Like they will follow you forever.
Yeah.
How do you find your tribe? Because let's face it, not everybody's in the tribe,
How do I find my tribe? Again, I know it gets said so much that it's kind of like I hate using it, but it is true. Is authenticity? Mm-hmm. From the standpoint of if I feel secure enough in myself to show you who I truly am, and we click, then at least I know that friendship is built on something that's more foundational versus it's superficial or it's opportunistic or it's temporary or whatever the case may be. And I feel like it's kind of like, sort of rings going into the bullseye. It's like the closer you in, it's like, do you get my full upgraded platinum version of my friendship with all the weirdness, gift with purchase kind of situation? Then that's great. But it's also, that's not for everybody. So it's not like not everybody has to be part of my inner tribe to have good relationships with, but it's kind of like how much feels safe, to share with you, I think is a lot of where it comes from.
I have a hard time with that.
Yeah,
I
do too.
I try not to, but
just ask my therapist.
I was learning about myself, and I didn't know this about myself. I don't know how at mid-40s, I did not know this about myself, but I'm learning that not everybody works like this. I thought everybody worked like this, but it takes a little bit of time. Not that I'm standoffish, but I'm probably definitely not one of the most warm and fuzzy people when you first meet. So I'm like a little trying to fill out who people are. And there is this point at which I'm like, all right, you're in. And once you're in.
Oh, you're all the way in.
You're all the way in, right? I'm like, no, you're all the way in. And not everybody does that all the way in thing. And I was like, there was just things that had happened where I was like, oh shit, I assumed maybe too familiar of a friendship that maybe it wasn't earned. Maybe that's it. Maybe I don't have people earn continue to earn a friendship. It's like, no, you made it past the pearly gates. So like now there is no continuing to earn my like friendship.
Right.
And like not everybody works like that. And that was like really threw me for a loop. I didn't know that one about myself, and I didn't know that how other people work differently. Have you had any like weird relationshipy stuff that have come to you late in life about, you know, I don't know if it's being friends with females or females in business that you were like, oh, I didn't know other people did not function like this?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had it in some friendships. It's like, you know, I think a lot of times as women, we always talk about breakups, like romantic breakups, but I feel like some of my biggest hurts have been
Next.
You know,
It's
friendships. Yes,
ones.
it is, because it's like, it's you know, you have that different level of vulnerability and intimacy as a friend, and it hurts to realize that friendship was established based off of what I could do for them versus who I am, and kind of going through that. And it's like, I know we've talked about this, but you know, sometimes when you kind of have that lesson that you're like, oh, okay, this is the lesson that I'm learning in my life right now. You don't learn it once.
Oh God,
you know,
no.
you go around. It's like going laps around the track, and you're like, oh, there's that bump. Okay, all right, I saw it this time. Like, good. Like, I anticipated for it. Then you go across, and you're like, okay, or it kind of, you know, like caught me off guard the first
level.
time.
It's like an onion. You're like, here I am.
You keep kind of dealing with it until it's like, okay. So again, sort of the, you know, remove to replace a little bit, just from the standpoint of, what does healthy relationship, you know, what do healthy relationships look like across the board? Not just, you know, again, we think romantic or, you know, kind of transactional, but like those, you know, those friendships, the relationships with our kids, with our family, with, you know, all of it matters. And I think as you see one of those kind of unravel, it sort of, at least it made me kind of, you know, back up and go, am I overgiving? Am I like trying to do too much to like earn that friendship versus it being a friendship?
Reciprocal, yeah. It's the earning part.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get better. I think I always know. I think I distrust myself, or I not sabotage, but like compromise. Like at like a prime, I'm like, I can feel that if I just get real quiet, I can feel there's something off here, but I'm willing to compromise that feeling and my intuition because of wanting to be liked, wanting to be included, and there's a variety of things that it could be wanting to, that I compromise.
Wanting to keep the peace.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not.
And as I've gotten older, it's like I am willing to at least trust myself when that comes up and go, okay, I'm not going to stuff it down. I'm not going to explain it away. I'm just going to give it time.
Yeah.
You know, from that standpoint, because
I feel
like,
willing to get to the place where you're just like, I don't even need to see it, I just can feel it?
I think I've been there a couple times, or I think I'm getting close to there. I think for me, it's always a checkpoint of like, I don't want to be so closed off or for it to tip over into like being judgmental or, you know, not understanding. My track record's pretty good though.
What do you love about Notorious? I mean, you keep coming back.
You're like, you seem to like it. You're always here. Yeah, I mean, because for so long in this industry, in this job, I didn't feel like I had a place where I belonged. I mean, I felt like I was on an island, which, I mean, this has that tendency to do anyway, and obviously working from home only exacerbates that. But again, as an introvert, not totally complaining.
You're like, oh, it's kind of okay.
It's kind of okay. But it also gets really lonely, and I think especially for when I started lending and what I thought was needed to be successful, you know, I felt like my example of somebody successful in the business was a white middle-aged man, you know, and so I was like, I wore the suits, I straightened my hair, you know, tried to like not bring up being a mom because I didn't want it to be, you know, like my attentions were divided or, you know, any kind of bullshit like that. And so I just didn't bring any of my femininity into my business because I didn't want it to put me at a disadvantage or have people, again, you know, poke at things that maybe I wasn't as secure about or whatever the case may be. And so as I got more and more comfortable with myself and my brand or just my voice, all those kind of things, is I was able to be like, no, this is who I am as a whole person. And now having a group of women that operate the same way, that it's this true, matriarchal, like how do we make sure that there's a seat at the table for everybody, type environment. Like, oh yeah, I mean, inject that straight into my veins. Like every 6 months, I need enough to like last me, and then it's just great to know that you've got a group of people that have your back and that you can reach out to if it's life, if it's work, if it's whatever. It just helps to not feel as alone,
Yeah. And I also honor the fact that sometimes my ideas feel a little outrageous to a lot of people. But then also when I get around other women, I'm like, it's not outrageous. Like, you all want to like balance like work and life too, right? You all want to like not work 50 hours a week. You all want to like, where at first I felt like the fact that when I would say like, I don't want to work so hard any longer and I want this to be easy and I want to build a business with like ease and grace and I want to make more money with less effort. And I would get this like side eye, like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, no, you didn't get side eye from me, but you definitely got a raised eyebrow because I remember when the first times you said that and you said it like loud and proud and I was like, we can do that, and I'm like, shit, I want that, so
Yeah.
I mean, and that's to the ripple effect, right? So I think sometimes when people are like, oh, like that's too radical, is yes, maybe they don't want it, right? Maybe they don't have that need, bully for them, awesome. But I think for the people that do, for the women that do, it's kind of like, oh, I can't say the quiet part out loud because if I say the quiet part out loud, or if I say that I want to do this differently, what if this like house of cards comes down, or what if people don't respect me, or the what if.
It's very triggering for people that have. It's very triggering for people that have spent their career building something and sacrificing so much. Then for me to come in and say like, you don't have to do that. That's like, can you imagine? Like, this is why I think I get so much like heat for this from some people. It's like, you're calling into question my entire identity. Right. I just spent the past how many years working my tail off, sacrificing my time with my family. And I mean, yes, I work hard too. I wish I had more time with my family. Got you on all of that. But that is not the goal. Like, the goal is getting more time back with the family. So it's like when you have something like, no, I just spent my whole career doing this and you're telling me I didn't have to do that. Oh no, girl, we're going to fight you on that one. And so I think that sometimes a lot of the backlash I get from some of these concepts is that I guess they're kind of relatively new, that like, you don't have, the world is your oyster. You can create whatever you want to create, that you don't have to prescribe to certain paradigms that maybe we've all kind of grown up in a certain society. And now I'm here saying you can do it differently. And then it calls into question and like people violently.
Well, and especially, I mean, when your work is your identity, of course. And I think to me, it reminds me both of how things have changed for women, over the generations, right? We go back to suffrage or, credit access or workplace, all those kind of things, right? To even like our children, from standpoint is like, it doesn't bother me if someone's like, oh, thanks for paving the way or thanks for like showing me the way to do this. It's not like I'm like, oh, you didn't earn it.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I know, but I'm saying, but I mean that because it's kind of like,
well, it's progress.
And that's the thing is, it's the same thing like with my kids. My kids, work very hard. They're ambitious in their own ways, but like my husband and I talk about this is like, I don't want them to struggle in the way that we struggled. I would rather like we stood up. I want them to stand on their shoulders and build from there. I don't need them to, scrape up to be alongside me. Like,
it's like a balance.
They'll grow their character in a different way and in their own challenges, but maybe it's not coming from as much of like a, survival of the fittest, fight or flight kind of response. Like,
yeah, I think it's a balance. I know with like my kids, trying to teach them, I mean, you just don't magically get places, right? Like There is some work involved, and then you get to choose how you view that work. You can look at it as hard and it will sure enough show up to you as hard. Or you can have that like a healthy expectation that when I do things, they work. I did not have a healthy expectation majority of my adult life. My adult a big part of my adult life was feeling like I was not worthy, that I felt I would look around and I would think like really shitty things to myself, like everybody else could have success, but I couldn't, you know? And it was like, that was not helpful. That was not a really healthy level of expectation. And it's so like with my kids, I had to like really try to balance that with, I want them to feel like ask and it is given. And I have this like flow and like whatever I, set out to do, I can achieve. And I'm also going to have to like work.
Yeah. I also have to be an active participant in the manifestation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
like, it's not like you're just sitting there and you're like, my phone's going to ring. No, but you do get to choose, it's like, it's kind of the whole thing about like, pick your hard. Mm-hmm. Right. It's different for different people.
Yeah.
What do you like most about us doing Stand Out?
Oh, well, I really enjoy where we do it. I, often think like, I mean, shit, we could do this in LA, but it would be LA.
Don't you think that, I mean, there's some value in kind of moving out of everyday life into a different environment. So it's kind of like you just sort of have a little bit of a mindset shift.
Yeah. And like, I, work hard to be the creator of my life and my business, and I'm sure I could be better at it. But if I'm going to create something, I want it to be good. I want to like, if that's an option, like there's a lot of times like we don't think like there's an option. Like we're like, oh, well, this is how it's always been done, or, everybody else does it like this. And I'm just like, that's boring, or like, that's just a lot of work. And so like, I don't know, if I want to create something, I'm like, let's go somewhere really cool and do it. So that's how we ended up here. I like watching how the production of Stand Out elevates everybody else's business and career. And there's a couple of things that happen. One, they elevate it, like they can use it to grow their own influence, and that translates to money and stuff like that. But even cooler is just watching like the confidence shift when they see, oh, I could look like that in a picture, or they show up a little bit different in their business when they have just that little bit more confidence with some good pictures. They've been on the podcast, they've been on the YouTube show. Their audience interacts with them a little bit differently, right? So they go from like, if you're doing like your own, like we all do our own content, but some of these women don't do any content, and it's like give them that little push, right? And then they come here and then it's like, oh shit, you're really doing something. And so their audience starts to like interact with them different, and then they start showing up different. So that's like one of my favorites. And then just sitting back, I enjoy at this event and also at our fall event to sit back and just watch the women get to know each other and start forming relationships, and like just that little ripple effect that like this relationship creates that, and like I know she's going to get a loan from that person and they're going to help her with that, and like I can be this little because because I had this idea and I took the action and I created this, and then like that one person can look out and be like, oh shit, I was like little tiny like pieces of.
It's like the butterfly effect, like all that. It's like when people ask, they're like, well, what's Notorious like? Or, I meet another woman in mortgage. I'm like, are you part of Notorious? And they're like, no, what is that? So I tell them, or I'm like, so it started by Paige, and then tell the whole story about, you're like, there are no women panels. And I was like, I want to start this conference. Like, we need this, right? And other people are like, cool, you do it. And you're like, this is why I don't raise my hand.
I don't need to. How do I end up having to do this?
No, I'm just, it's like one of my kids says, he goes, I just put it out to the wind. Like, somebody needs to pick this up because, don't have the time. But it's still, I mean, I love you to pieces because you're my friend, and you're also inspiring to me because you're like, you believed in it so much that you did it. And it wasn't just that you're like, oh, let me do a little focus group. Let me do a little like coffee group. You're like, hell no, we're going big and bad and bold. Like Austin, like come, and it's luxurious and all that kind of stuff, and different speakers and all that. So like, I just wanted to say, so you're coming up on 3 years of like when you had the idea and kind of, started to really put it into play, right? Because it was 2023. So like, is this where you felt like it would be at 3 years? Or like, what does it mean to you?
Gosh.
Or were you just like, I just want to throw an event and see where it goes?
Yeah, I didn't have a business plan. I was just like ignorance on fire. Like, I don't know. So it's so much my personality. I'm just like, I need a handler. Can I get a handler, please? Can you just like follow behind me? Because I know
throw things over my shoulder, catch it.
Like I have like learned things about myself. I'm like, okay, Paige, you're the visionary. You're the runner. God, I don't know. We were talking about human design.
Yeah.
Not a generator. I can just go, right? So it's like, let's go. And provided I'm getting some sort of feedback, I can really go for a really long time.
Yeah.
But I don't plan very well. I'm just like, sounds like a good idea. We're going to do it.
Yeah.
With no plan.
Right, you're like, I do not want to get mired in the details. Like, I
No.
need somebody else that like loves to sort the details and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I was just like, let's run. And then it worked. And I remember, I don't know if it was you or somebody was like, what are we doing next? I was like, oh shit, I don't
Like, I have to do this again.
Again? Okay. All right. And so I didn't know we'd be here. Even with this Cabo trip, it happened because somebody said we should take a trip. Somebody was, I don't know. Somebody,
And you're like,
okay.
and you're like the road runner. You're like, let's go.
I mean, right? I'm like, this is also so bad. Anywhere I travel, like, God forbid we go anywhere. I'm like, I like here. I'm like, how do I move here? Like, I've already decided how I'm moving here.
Yeah.
Like, all this kind of like, Paige, stop it.
We were talking about that this morning at breakfast.
Yeah, how to move here. Or I also have a really bad habit. I can't just like something. My brain does not work like this. I can't, there's no, I don't know if this is a Capricorn thing or what, but like, I can't have a hobby because the minute I like something, I'm like, let's turn this into a business.
Same.
Like, what are the numbers? I'm like, stop it. We don't need any more businesses over here.
As a Capricorn can confirm.
So, I mean, that's how this happens is that somebody, I was getting pissed off over no women events. So then I'm like, here we go. Now we have this thing. And then somebody said we should take a trip. And I was like, let's do it.
Let's go. I'm going to brand it. This is what it's going to look
100%.
like. I've
And
already got the domain.
Yes, I was
it's
like, okay, well, how do we take a trip? And like, I don't just want to take a trip. Like, I have to make more money when I do it. You got to make more money doing it, and I got to write it off. Okay, how do I do that? And then it was like a series of like, I don't know, maybe we'll film a YouTube show. If I film a YouTube show, then I could write it off, then we could make more money. And then it was like, okay, well, I guess we're filming a YouTube show. And so, now we have this like whole crazy production. Sometimes when I think like even like when I stop and think sometimes to like have some wild idea and then like it actually, like we're freaking here for the second time. And
Yeah.
Okay, this is because somebody said that let's take a trip, and now all of a sudden we have this YouTube show.
See, this is why I'm very careful sometimes when I give ideas around there because I'm like, do we both have the emotional and the time capacity to like execute on this idea? Like I think it through now because it's like,
we're off to the races.
Yeah.
And if I'm being honest, I don't have no idea where this is going.
You took the question out of my head. I was going to say, what's the future?
I don't know. I mean, we're doing the fall event. I'm very excited about the fall event. We're moving locations. We're going to Nashville. We're going to be at the Graduate. The hotel's amazing. Really thinking about how do I include more people. I think for a really long time, or not for a really long time, we're only a couple of years into this, but so far.
It's just felt like a long time
Yeah,
because
it
of
feels like a long
how
time.
life has been lifing.
100%. So the first 2 years, I had come from like I'm very like feeling like I was by myself, then to having like a sphere of influence, a group I belonged to, and I thought the industry had all of a sudden gotten really small. Before it was really big, then it got really small, and as I started to build Notorious, I was really building within this really small sector. And so this year it's been about, all right, well, how do I reach women outside of this one little piece of mortgage? How do I get to the mass amount of women out there on both sides of the channel, both wholesale and retail? I don't even know if there's anything in retail. I just got connected with a girl who just started her own women's community. She comes from retail. And I was like, yeah, do it. Like, we need more communities. Like, even like I love what I'm building, but like we need more communities for everybody. And you might be a good fit for mine. You might be good for somebody else, or shit, do them all. And so I don't know where we're going to go, but we'll do the fall event. I'm very excited for it. And then I think we'll probably come back here. I don't know. Maybe we'll go somewhere new.
Dream big. I'll be careful when I suggest it. I promise if I suggest something, I will also offer up my labor, not just my ideas.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of things. I mean, we've talked about doing different chapters around the country and like what that could look like.
Yeah, we did that. We did an event in Charlotte 2 months ago. Yeah, a little over a month ago. And it was just so fun because it was just, I mean, it really was very little about business. It was just kind of like, okay, you get this weird work that we do in life, and you know the whole thing about like it's not a job, it's a lifestyle, and just again building community.
The work is not the business, like
Right.
the real work that we do in two different pieces. Actual mortgage, the actual amount of like mortgage that we do is like this little. It's everything else that we do that can make the job challenging or whatever you want to call it. But then also, like the real work is like the personal work that we do. It's not the business. And so, and that happens within like connections with other people. You get to learn and like see yourself reflected back to yourself in talking with other people. Yeah. That's where the real work happens. Yeah. And the more that we do that, and the more that we work on ourselves and we're in community with other women, all that kind of stuff. And however you want to take the work, I don't know. I do a lot of crazy work. I do a lot of energy healing.
Well, I was going to say, like, there was one woman that came, and so she had moved from another state. I don't know, maybe a little bit over a year, 18 months, prior, whatever. And she had been a top producer in her city, and then she moved, and she was kind of like, "Whoa, this is a totally different vibe. This is a totally different like. How do you break into like?" It's just like it totally turned her business on its head. And I thought it was cool that she was, I mean, we were pretty much strangers, but she at least, kind of just opened up to that. And it was like, yes. And so those of us that had been in Charlotte and have lived in Charlotte for a long time are like, every city has its own challenge. This is kind of like what Charlotte's like. And these are some of the, inside baseball, type things that you need to know. And it was like, how much I would have appreciated having
somebody
a community
that
like that when I was trying to, kind of fight through. But it was like, well, that didn't work. Let me try this. Oh, that didn't work. Let me try this, and again and again and again until just somebody to be like, hey, like you are of no threat to me. Like come in, how can I help? And just being able to do that and even that ripple effect.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, thank you. All right. Well, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
I'll see you the next time we do this. The next time we're in maybe Cabo.
That's right.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for capturing another episode of Standout Cabo Edition with Rebecca Richardson. Make sure to follow us across all socials at notoriouswmn.com. Stay tuned for details about our fall event. And thank you to our sponsors, The Lone Store, Rocket Pro, Broker Insight Group, and Coastal Breeze.